Shalom, friends! We haven't done one of these videos in a hot second, so let's get into it. Welcome to Parsha Reactions, Shelach. In this week's Torah portion, the Israelites are camped out in the wilderness right outside the Holy Land. God tells Moses to get in his espionage era and send out some spies, some scouts, to scope out the situation. 12 spies, actually, one from each of the tribes of Israel. But really, the only two secret agents we actually care about in this situation, in this story, are Kalev ben Yefunah, representing House Judah, and representing the house of Ephraim was Yehoshua, Joshua, Moses's protege / personal assistant. Their mission, should they choose to accept it, just kidding, they were voluntold to do this, was to infiltrate and recon Eretz Israel. Discover how many people live there, were the cities fortified, and lastly, to bring back some fruit salad samples. So the 12 spies do a Mission Impossible drop from an air duct, zipping past the matrix of lasers that, if touched, would set off all of the alarms. And then they landed in dramatic poses that Yelena from Black Widow would definitely mock. They were there for 40 days. Deep cover. Finally, it was time for extraction to come in from the cold. Then they bypass the security cameras so nobody can see them absconding with a massive cluster of grapes, so big it has to be carried on a pole between two people. Oh my God. They report back to Moses and Aaron in the Israelite camp. 10 out of those 12 men were freaking the fuck out about what they witnessed. And as we all know, panic is contagious. So they were like, yes, okay, yes, the land does flow with milk and honey. That part is true. On the plus side, look at these grapes. They're enormous, non-GMO, completely organic. This grape is the size of my head. Banana for scale, that doesn't work over there unless you're trying to measure an elephant. But none of their amazing produce matters because there's no way we go into that land and win. There just isn't. If you think the fruit is massive, you should see how tall the warriors are. Giants on steroids. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're up against. We look like grasshoppers next to them and they are gonna stomp us. In summation, we have a bad feeling about this. But Kalev swoops in to shut that down. He's like, guys, you're all 5'3". Of course you would think they're giants. Calm down. I'm saying this with my full chest. Clear eyes, clear hearts, can't lose. Oh, but look, it's deja vu. The Israelites have already started hyperventilating themselves into a state of panic and are screaming at Moses and Aaron. What else is new in life, right? Why does Hashem want us to go to that land? We're gonna get schmurderized. Abort this mission. Let's go back to Egypt. Yehoshua and Kalev are like, no, listen. These 10 assholes, don't listen to them. The land is good. And as for the people in the land, these giants on steroids, stop, take a breath, think about it with your brain. God's on our side, okay? The Israelites are like, nah, we think you two are liars. Prepare to get stoned, but not in the fun way. At that moment, the presence of God rolls up, and God is like, Moses, sidebar, I have never created a more ungrateful group of people. I swear to me, I'm finally gonna do it. I'm gonna just get rid of all of them and then replace them with a new nation made just out of you. Moses is like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I would like to offer a PR perspective that might be valuable right now. Let's see you do that. What's going to happen when the Egyptians find out? They're going to say, oh, I guess the Israelite God wasn't hot shit after all. Turns out their God didn't actually have the power to take them into their promised land, right? And I just don't think we should be encouraging that narrative. Think of the benevolent qualities you have, forgiving qualities. Some might say these are your most important attributes. Hashem is like, fine, but I have limits. All of the people who witnessed what I did in Egypt and witnessed all the miracles in the wilderness and wouldn't stop complaining, they have muttered against me one too many times. AITA, I think not. Moses, go tell those who kvetched we're not friends anymore. All their kids, they can get into the promised land. But before that, guess what? Y'all are just going to be doing donuts in the desert for 40 years. 1 year for every day that those spies, those 10 nefarious double-crossing spies, were in the Holy Land. I only like Kalev and Yehoshua now. It's official. Of course, when Moses tells the Israelites about this, they're like, oh, shit. Who could have ever predicted that our rude and ungrateful muttering would lead to this? So a bunch of them try to walk back what they said by storming the border in a completely unsanctioned operation. No air support. The ark wasn't there, God wasn't there, Moses wasn't there, nobody was there to assist them, so they got their asses handed to them. So some takeaways from this. Sometimes complaints are necessary to effect change. Absolutely, I support complaints. And in fact, there is a story coming up in the Torah where we see Hashem, where we see God actually responding quite well to some constructive feedback offered by a group of sisters. So clearly there is a time and a place for bringing things to God's attention that you're concerned about. But let's be fucking for real. You gotta read the room. Or more accurately in this case, you gotta read the wilderness.